Hi, Clayton speaking. Welcome to StickySims. Due to an unprecedented turn of events, I somehow, someway made a speedcast video. If you're new here, I usually do build videos, mostly speed build videos, and I do some like legacy gameplay, so this is a complete different type of content to make for me. I guess technically I am still playing The Sims, so this counts, right? Today I'm making a couple that was used for an Apocalypse collab hosted by Nasena on Velvet Bee's Discord server. Basically what we did was we redid Newcrest, but we did it to a style of like a post-apocalyptic, kind of like grungy end of the world type vibes. By the time that this video is coming out, the Apocalypse collab will have already been released. I'll put a link in the description to go check out Nasena's tour. The recording should be up. But yeah, so I guess I'll talk through my thought process as I was starting to create The Sims. So my thought is it's a couple, and I kind of wanted them to be like the culture champions of the neighborhood. So I figured it's a post-apocalyptic world. Naturally, everyone's going to be concerned with, survival, different things, food, water, probably electricity, shelter, community, you know what I mean? And I wanted this couple to be the ones that also reminded, everyone in the community that culture is just as important as all of our like instinctive and survival, primal needs. My thought is they would have kind of like a bookstore, but also would kind of low-key serve as like a, like tutors kind of for the neighborhood so that the kids can still learn to read and we can still I guess the idea is keep our humanity, a place to collect all of the different artworks. And I guess I also pictured it being a duo. So at this point when I'm recording this, I haven't quite dug into their build yet, but I'm thinking that they would be a self-sufficient pair. So they're not as concerned about making money in their income, and they're more concerned with actually, upholding the culture of the community, throwing concerts, cookouts, just trying to keep people, right? So we don't all turn into animals at the end of the world. So yeah, they're self-sufficient, and then they're going to live kind of in like I guess in The Sims it would be considered a small business type household, but my thought is that they run kind of like a bookstore / library where they also, host classes for different things. When I'm thinking of, characters, different things that are trying to survive an apocalypse, a duo is usually a strong, strategy going forward. So, you usually like two people you can kind of bounce off of each other, partner. You kind of have like a brains and a brawn type situation, which is still, kind of here. Right now I'm working on, she ends up being Yvette Woods. She is married to Vaughn Woods. Now, Vaughn is, of course, going to be I'm going to make him beefed up so he can, take care of things and protect everyone, or protect Yvette at the very least. I just kind of also pictured him being kind of geeky and like a bookworm as well, kind of with her standing behind this. We need to keep the culture alive with people. Anyways, enough on that. I'm sitting here rambling about all my little ideas as I was not building. Oh my God. Can y'all tell that I normally make building videos? While I was creating Miss Yvette here, I didn't want her to be too flashy. I definitely pictured her being more on the, like I said, they were self-sufficient, so they're not really worried about their income. So they're not really like rich or affluent at all. Very homey, down-to-earth people. I found that I really was heavily attracted to, I really ended up liking a lot of the grunge. Which one is it? The grunge? I think it's a kit or a stuff pack. Oh shoot, hold on. Revival. It's the grunge revival DLC. Do something kind of comfy. I didn't do a lot of different outfits. I just kind of did one for each little, category, if you will. I copied the everyday outfit to the hot weather outfit. I guess I figured, with, how global warming and everything is going, I figured the post-apocalyptic world would be very hot. But then, of course, would probably have a very, polarizing, crazy, freezing winter. Like, I guess I pictured the world turning into, you know, half desert, half tundra, which is kind of all just desert, really. I also did green hair because I don't know, I haven't done a sim with green hair that I remember, and I kept seeing everybody's, what is it, the Very Veggie challenge, where their starting sim has green hair, or I think it's like surrounding broccoli or something. Anyways, it made me want to have a pretty sim with green hair, so here we are. One thing that I do have to mention that I'm thinking about, because I remember when I was working on Yvette, this was the thing that just kept popping in my mind, but, you know, like, over the past about 10 years or so, makeup and the makeup industry and like the skills and the things that you see people do nowadays have like really progressed really far. And it definitely, I think, reflects in The Sims, because the makeup options that I had were mostly just, I think, like base game. Some of them were like MAC cosmetic branded. And I literally like clicked to 2 or 3 of them, and then I found the one that she's wearing now, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like, The Sims looks really good. I do dabble a bit in makeup. I just haven't sat at my vanity in forever. Maybe I'll do that. But I gotta finish these guys, and then I have to build them a house, so. Let's see. So everything that I make for this Apocalypse collab will be on the gallery, and it will be CC free. However, I do just want to let y'all know, I do use a like skin override, I guess you would call it, or like a default, to kind of give this more like matte look. I really my Sims are like living dolls for me, so I really like the skin texture on them. And then I also use a default eye replacement. I guess it really just kind of makes their eyes a little bit more, I guess, cartoony in a way, which feels very weird to say because, you know, The Sims is basically cartoon, but I don't know. I use a default eye replacement from StickySims. I just really like the way it just looks on everybody. On the topic of CC and mods, I don't typically build with CC, but I will say that like 9 out of 10 of my Sims that I play with in my game have CC. Like, it's especially hair. They got some really talented CC creators out there for hair. But yeah, let me back up. So yeah, if you play console and CC and mods are not an option for you, they will be available. Just know their skin and their eyes will look a little different than what you're seeing here. So, all right, so her look is mostly done at this point. I ended up selecting the traits of idealist, cheerful, and bookworm for her. I felt like that kind of fit the mold for this like culture champion that I was trying to create. The other thing that kind of made sense to me was, you know, if she's promoting culture, then she's also like actively looking for books and different things, you know, from the past. So she might have this like, I don't want to say obsession, but like a hobby. Like she really loves ghosts, and she loves meeting ghosts and learning things from them, especially, you know, ghosts from before the apocalypse. I guess it all just, you know, kind of ties together. But one of the things that I was thinking when I was done was, I was like, you know, usually when you think of ghost historian, I guess I would have thought more of like a dark or like macabre a character, and she's more of like the light bubbly one that's just kind of happy to, I don't know, be human. All right. So now we're moving into Vaughn, her husband. Gosh, I remember when I was starting here, this like outfit that he had on, I kept seeing like a kid, like a teenager, and it's like a combination of the outfit and then the skin overlay or the skin default. But we get there in the end, you know. So I wanted him to be kind of like a very wide, beefy man, but I also wanted his head to be very what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I wanted him to have very, like, punctuated features, if that makes sense. So, like, of course, almost all of my male Sims have big lips and big nose. It's just, I just love a big nose. So I tried to, like, pull his ears out a little bit more. I tried to pull his like, brow out and kind of set his eyes back a little bit. Kind of give, like, I don't know, bedroom eyes, I guess. Now, me and my partner, we both have longer hair, so I do have a tendency to want to, like, start with, like, longer hair on guys, but ultimately, I did end up with more of like a high and tight type look for him. I figure, you know, if he's still going to be mostly a cheery person and he has this brawn, but also a lot of brains to him, I figured he's probably like former military, most likely. So that was kind of the everyday vibe that I went for him. I think adding the facial hair also did it. But anyways, I guess, I was also thinking at this point when I was working on them that boots would be a big thing. They would wear a lot of boots. I guess in a lot of the end of the world and apocalyptic movies that I see, there's usually, like very challenging terrain. So, you know what I mean? They like to show like the ruins of like manicured neighborhoods and showing, what used to be a beautiful gentrified city is now, in complete collapse. Oh yeah, so like, let me reel myself back in. Where exactly am I at in this whole create a sim process? Oh. I definitely debated with myself whether or not I even wanted to do formal looks for them. Figured if it's, an apocalyptic world, we don't exactly have tailors and very highfalutin fashion. But ultimately, I was like, they do need a formal outfit, especially if they're going to be my culture champions. Then if anyone is throwing an event that's worth getting dressed up for, it's probably them. And, and encouraging people to try to, get themselves dressed up as best they can. Want everyone to feel good. Y'all know, look good, feel good, that whole number. Now, I am a sucker for beefy Sims, so I do have a tendency to leave my beefy Sims shirtless. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. And I won't. Anyways, it makes the selection process a lot easier with your male Sims, but so we're picking out the party look. I was kind of all over the place with this. My thought is he would be a playful type person. So I'm like, oh man, what is he gonna wear to the party? What is he gonna wear to the party? And then it came to me, it dawned on me, it's not a party without a large eggplant, right? Everyone enjoys a party with a large eggplant, so Vaughn is gonna be that big eggplant for you. And he's hot too. For a second, I was looking at him at this point and I was like, he low-key kind of reminds me of Bob Pancakes a little bit. So I was starting to wonder if like maybe I should tie that, like maybe tie like a relative of Bob Pancakes. And then I thought, nah, I don't want to box myself in with that family tree. We'll just say, every time that he's around Bob, they always, they call each other cousin and brother, even though they're not actually related. But yeah, so we're pretty much wrapped up on their looks. Now, I made him goofball and I think active and, bookworm. No, not bookworm, geek. I felt like that made sense to have the bookworm and the geek as a couple. For aspirations, I figured that Vaughn would just want to be friends with everyone and, I don't know, kind of be Mr. Popular. So anyways, we're wrapping up here. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and a comment. Like I said kind of at the beginning, I am trying something different here. So if y'all do enjoy this type of content, I'm more than happy to start, throwing it in the rotation. Of course, with, my usual speed builds and gameplay. But anywho, I hope you have a beautiful week. Love you. Bye.